Welcome back to Buy or Buy. Today we're diving into an explainer on the absolute most track-capable Camaro Chevrolet ever built. We're going to break down the insane engineering, the exotic slaying performance, and yeah, the frankly terrifying running costs of the 2018 to 2024 Chevrolet Camaro ZL1 1LE. If you're hunting for the absolute pinnacle of American muscle, well, you really need to know exactly what you're getting yourself into.
Right, so let's set the scene here. You kind of have to imagine what went down behind closed doors at GM. The Camaro engineering team realizes their boss is permanently closing the program, right? So what do? They decide to go out with a massive bang. The ZL1 1LE is basically what happens when a team decides, hey, let's just spend our very last engineering budget building a Porsche 911 GT3 RS rival, but we'll offer it to the public for half the money.
And honestly, the proof that they pulled it off is just one cold, hard number. A blistering 7-minute, 16.04-second lap of the Nürburgring Nordschleife set by GM engineer Bill Wise. Like, just to put that into perspective for a second, that puts this Chevy, a Camaro, squarely in the exact same lap time bracket as blue blood European exotics that literally cost 3 times as much. Absolutely wild.
So how exactly did they do it? Well, it all starts under that aggressively vented hood with the legendary 6.2-liter LT4 V8. This thing is a supercharged absolute monster, pushing 650 horsepower at 6,400 RPM and 650 pound-feet of torque at just 3,600 RPM. It rocks an Eaton TVS R1740 1.7-liter twin-screw supercharger with liquid-to-air charge cooling, direct injection, and variable valve timing. And hey, if this architecture sounds a little familiar to you, it definitely should. It's the exact same legendary power plant that GM used in the Corvette C7 Z06, the Cadillac CTS-V, the current CT5-V Blackwing, and yep, even the Escalade-V.
Now, looking at the transmission timeline, it reveals this kind of stubborn, almost hilarious commitment to purity. The original 2018 ZL1 1LE was so hyper-dedicated to the track that it launched exclusively with the Tremec 6-speed manual. I mean, it literally took GM a full year to admit that, okay, maybe some buyers might actually want paddles, eventually adding the optional Hydra-Matic 1090 10-speed automatic from 2019 onward.
All right, let's move into Section 1, the 1LE track package, chassis and aerodynamics.
But you know, the engine is really only half the story here. The 1LE track package completely transforms the chassis. They yanked out the standard ZL1's magnetic ride control and swapped in race-bred Multimatic DSSV. That's dynamic suspension spool valve dampers. These things control fluid through precisely machined spool valves instead of your traditional shim stacks, giving you this incredible fade-free consistency lap after lap. They also threw in adjustable ball-jointed top mounts for camber tuning, an adjustable rear anti-roll bar, and springs that are literally 3 times stiffer than standard. Then you've got the functional aero, a massive front splitter, dive planes, and a ridiculous carbon fiber rear wing that produces 300 pounds of downforce at 150 miles per hour. Oh, and to top it off, they shaved off about 27 kilograms by swapping in lighter glass and simplifying the rear seat. Because of all this, the performance is just staggering, 0 to 60 miles per hour in 3.5 seconds, and it crushes the quarter mile in the low to mid-11s at around 128 miles per hour. Of course, to get all that power and downforce actually glued to the pavement, GM did something interesting. They downsized the wheels. They dropped from the standard 20-inch wheels down to 19-inch forged aluminum ones, which actually saves 3.3 pounds of unsprung weight per corner. And they wrapped those in ultra-wide Goodyear Eagle F1 Supercar 3R rubber. Now, let's be clear, these are essentially street-legal, R-compound, dry-grip-focused track tires. They are absolutely positively not all-season tires, so don't even try.
Moving right along to Section 2, the painful truth, covering the critical issues in running costs.
Look, playing at this exotic, slaying level comes with some massive financial realities. You're getting supercar performance, which unfortunately means you're paying supercar running costs. First up is the big headline engine issue, LT4 Active Fuel Management, or AFM, lifter failures. On the early production cars, those cylinder deactivation lifters are notoriously prone to collapsing. It's a heavily documented GM issue across early LT4 vehicles, and if it happens, addressing it fully and properly is going to hit you with a massive bill between $3,500 and $7,000. Now, the good news is that post-2020 production models saw some really significant design improvements, so the later cars are way more reliable in this department. Another major headache you've got to watch out for is supercharger maintenance. That Eaton supercharger is known to develop this really annoying rattle or clunk on throttle tip-in, and that's due to wear in the snout bearings and the internal isolator coupler. Rebuilding this requires a specific snout reseal kit, and it'll run you anywhere between $1,500 and $3,000. Oh, and you also really need to stay on top of your routine supercharger drive belt inspections because that belt takes an absolutely massive torque load.
And hey, remember those magical Multimatic DSSV dampers we were just gushing over? Well, they are incredibly durable, and they give you unmatched track consistency. But here's the catch. If they are heavily abused and hard used on the track, they are officially considered a serviceable wear item, and replacing them will absolutely drain your track budget, running a very steep $1,500 to $3,000 per corner. Yeah, ouch.
Then we have to talk about the brutal everyday consumables. I mean, stopping a 650 horsepower beast means a full Brembo brake refresh is going to cost you $3,500 to $5,500. Those sticky R-compound tires, they wear out incredibly fast compared to touring tires, setting you back $2,400 to $3,200 a set. And get this, because that massive carbon fiber rear wing sits right in the car's aerodynamic wake, it constantly catches track debris. If you chip that wing on the track curbs, repairing it is a $3,000 to $5,000 job. And at the pump, expect a dismal 14 miles per gallon in the city and 20 on the highway. Plus, it strictly requires 93 octane fuel, not 91, to prevent engine knock under boost. Oh, and a quick side note, don't expect to put anybody comfortably in that cramped little rear seat.
Also, if you're shopping for the manual transmission, which you really should be, just be cautious of throwout bearing wear. Hard track driving really chews through these, and replacing it means completely dropping the transmission. You also want to keep a close eye on oil levels, as some of those early LT4 engines exhibit pretty noticeable piston ring oil consumption. So the golden rule here? Always demand a documented service history so you can avoid the heavily abused examples.
Okay, moving on to Section 3, the exotics benchmark.
To truly understand the insane value of this car, we really have to look at the blue blood competitors in its bracket. I mean, compared to a Porsche 911 GT3, the Camaro offers significantly more horsepower, even though, sure, the Porsche is a bit more refined and holds its value better. Against the Mercedes-AMG GTR, the ZL1 LE costs about the same on the used market, but gives you way more raw power and much more aggressive functional aero. And if you put it up against the BMW M4 CSL, the Camaro is a fraction of the price, packs a supercharged V8 instead of a twin-turbo inline-6, and just delivers a far more dramatic, unfiltered driving experience.
Which brings us to the ultimate question. Back in January 2024, Chevrolet killed the Camaro entirely. The absolute final ZL1 engine was hand-built on October 16, 2023 by a builder named Billy Burke. The Camaro, as we know it, is gone. So looking at the mind-blowing performance, the scary running costs, and its place in history, is this a buy or a buy?
Let me be perfectly clear. This is screamingly a buy. The ZL1 1LE is genuinely one of the greatest American performance cars of all time, period. That DSSV suspension is literal racing-grade technology. The aero is fully functional, that LT4 V8 is one of the greatest American supercharged V8s ever made, and that 7-minute 16-second Nürburgring time is completely legitimate. Now, if you are buying one, the 6-speed manual is absolutely the correct purchase to maximize that visceral, driver-focused experience. Just be smart about it. Verify the supercharger snout health and the AFM lifter status on those early cars, and avoid heavily tracked models without service records.
Furthermore, this thing is already achieving genuine collector status. Depreciation has been incredibly minimal. These cars are holding their value incredibly strongly right now. And if you can manage to hunt down the ultra-rare 2024 Collector's Edition in Panther Black Matte, or the Garage 56 Edition where they literally only made 56 of them, you are looking at major future appreciators.
The era of the unfiltered, supercharged American track monster is dead. This isn't just a car anymore, guys. It's the final chapter of an incredible performance legacy. There will never, ever be another supercharged V8 Camaro from GM. So the question really isn't whether it's good enough to buy. The real question is, will you secure this legendary piece of history before they're all locked away in private collections forever? Thanks for tuning into this explainer, and we'll catch you on the next one.